contributors. We have a government in which the U.S. Senate controlled by Republicans, the House controlled by Republicans, the White House controlled by Republicans. And we want a government that functions not on a month-to-month basis, but on a basis which addresses the real crises facing the American people. Yesterday, interestingly enough, we received and saw a tweet that came from the Pentagon. And what the Pentagon said is we cannot function effectively month by month by month. And they're right. The United States government is a $4 trillion operation. We need an annual budget, not continuing resolutions, and we need that budget to address the crises facing this country. And one of the crises facing this country is that in September, Donald Trump rescinded an executive order that gave legal protection to 800,000 young people in our country. These are young people who today are working. 20,000 of the Dreamers are teachers. These are young people who are in school. These are young people who are in the military. These are young people who came to this country at the age of 1 or 2 or 4 and know no other home than the United States of America. These are people who today are living in fear and anxiety, and it is time we ended that fear and anxiety. It's time that we pass the DREAM Act and a path toward citizenship. Now, you may say, well, that's the right thing to do. That's a good thing to do. But you know what? It is exactly what the overwhelming majority of the American people want us to do. That's not just Bernie Sanders talking. There was a poll that came out yesterday from CBS. Anyone see it? Yeah. 87% of the American people, 87%, said that we have got to give legal protection to the Dreamers, and most of those people think the Dreamers deserve a path towards citizenship. When you got 87% of the American people wanting something, you know what? Republican leadership, it is time for you to do it. And the good news is that both in the House and the Senate, there is legislation being worked on in a bipartisan manner. It doesn't go as far as many of us would like it to go, but it is a decent piece of legislation, and the Republican leadership has got to allow that bill to pass. But it is not just the Dreamers that we have got to worry about. Right now in America, we have community health centers providing health care to 27 million Americans. And you know what? They have not been funded for the last 3.5 months. We have veterans at the VA not getting the quality care they need because there are 30,000 vacancies at the VA. We have students who graduate from college deeply in debt, and we've got to address that crisis and the child care crisis as well. We got an infrastructure all over this country, especially in rural America, that is crumbling. In other words, we have some serious problems, and it is not good enough for the Republican leadership to continue to punt, give us temporary budget resolutions. Now is the time for the American people to demand that the Republican leadership do the job they are paid to do, that is to govern, that is to address the crises facing this country, and that begins tonight. Thank you all very much.
Next we'll have Congressman